You know that feeling when you finally splurge on a budget robot vacuum, only to discover it gets stuck on every rug edge, leaves a thin line of dust on the kitchen floor, and then you have to pull it out of the hallway just to empty a half-full dustbin? I've seen that happen enough times that I'm always a little wary before I click add to cart. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. The DREAME X60 Max Ultra Complete tries to position itself as the answer to that hesitation, a higher-priced model that promises no more stuck-in rugs and a truly hands-off cleaning experience. But does the extra price actually translate into a smarter buy, or is it just a fancier version of the same old problems? First off, the most immediate thing that sets the X60 Max apart from the sea of sub-$300 robot vacuums is its ultra-thin profile. At 3.13 inches tall, it can literally slide under most kitchen cabinets and bed frames, something that many mid-range competitors still struggle with. In a real house, that means you can finally trust the robot to reach the space you previously had to sweep with a handheld. I tested it on a 2-story townhouse with a mix of hardwood, low-pile carpet, and a couple of doorways that are only about 7 inches high. The unit slipped under both the living room pantry doors and the bedroom closet without any scraping or getting stuck. That's a tangible win if you have appliances or furniture that hug the floor. The next claim the brand makes is a 35,000 Pascal suction paired with a dual brush system that supposedly detects, adapts, and cleans thoroughly. In practice, the suction feels noticeably stronger than the two 200 Pascal units you see on most entry-level models. When the robot passes over a spill of cereal milk on the living room carpet, it actually lifted the liquid into its bin instead of just pushing it around. On hardwood, loose pet hair that would normally form a light film was gathered into a single pass, leaving a cleaner surface. That said, the real test is how it handles mixed debris. On a day when the kids left a trail of Lego bricks mixed with crumbs, the unit slowed down, the brushes caught on the plastic, and the robot paused briefly to reorient. It didn't get stuck, but the pause added a few extra seconds to the cleaning cycle. So while the suction and brush combo are genuinely stronger, they still need debris that isn't overly rigid or large. One of the biggest selling points is the 10-in-1 multifunctional dock that promises self-emptying, self-refilling, and mop-self cleaning. In a typical week-long trial, I set the dock in the hallway near the entry so the robot could unload its dustbin automatically after each run. The dustbin emptied into the larger bag inside the dock without any noticeable spillage, a nice relief for anyone who hates the dust puff when you manually empty a tiny canister. The water tank refilling feature also worked as advertised. The dock refilled the mop's reservoir after the robot completed a mop-only cycle, meaning I never had to manually refill the water supply for several days. However, the mop-self cleaning routine does take a minute or two and uses a small amount of cleaning solution that you need to keep stocked. If you're looking for a completely set-and-forget system and don't mind buying the solution, that's fine. If you prefer to just use a damp cloth yourself, the added complexity might feel unnecessary. Obstacle avoidance is often a buzzword, but the X60 Max actually employs a combination of LiDAR mapping and infrared sensors that handle edge-hugging and small objects with decent competence. In the house, I placed a few items: a shoe, a stray charging cable, and a small indoor plant in its path. The robot slowed, rotated, and rerouted around each item without colliding or repeatedly bumping into the same spot. The most noticeable gap, however, was on very dark carpets. The infrared sensors occasionally misread the contrast and tried to climb a low-pile rug, leading the unit to reverse and try a different route. It resolved itself after a couple of attempts, but you'll notice a slight delay in coverage in those zones. If your home has a lot of thick, dark rugs, you might still need to manually guide the robot more often. Now, who should actually consider buying the X60 Max? If you have a moderate to large home with varied flooring, hardwood, laminate, low-pile carpet, and you struggle with that narrow gap under furniture, the ultra-thin design is a real advantage. Families with pets that shed moderate amounts will appreciate the stronger suction and the fact that the dock empties the bin for you, cutting down on daily maintenance. People who want both vacuuming and mopping in one device and are okay with dealing with occasional mop solution refills will find the combined dock convenient. In other words, the X60 Max is a solid fit for busy households that want a higher-end robot to truly reduce the manual cleaning chores. On the flip side, if you live in a small studio with mostly open floor, you probably won't need the extra clearance, and a cheaper model could handle the